Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Ask a Death Doula. It is an honor to be with you today. Do not forget that we have Life Cafe, and we are starting in January 2026. We are going to have them weekly. Life Cafe is building a global community of people showing up in love over fear, in presence, with purpose, with unity, and all the things that are being asked of us at this moment. So if you are looking for a space for your people, for family that you can meet with on a regular basis, and then we will hopefully get into local groups in your area, join us in Life Cafe. The link is below. So welcome to Ask a Death Doula. This is Doulagivers, Guatemala. And I want to share with you my journey of working with beautiful people in Guatemala and how that unfolded as the universe will do. And that's life mastery, not in an ego way, in a way of how life works. Listening to the inner still voice that guides you, the higher self, where it wants you to go, how it wants you to co-create. And it's trusting in that, and it's listening to that, and it's strengthening that connection and relationship in alignment with that voice. That is the whole mastery of the life's journey, to step out of the human part, the separate part, the pushing part, and into the being part, the connected part, the joy, the flow, the co-creation, the higher vibration. We'll have much more on that in this beautiful coming year of design. And the design is that you can design your life. You have the choice, and only you have the choice. And so we're going to be sharing much more about alignment and the moment that is now, of all these beautiful timelines and choices coming into play. And you have the choice of choosing love over fear. And I know that we all want that. We all want that. And so it's right there for you. We're going to show you how to do that. So lots coming there. And then that leads me to this beautiful moment of Doulagivers Guatemala. So for those of you who follow Doulagivers, such a beautiful story. And again, it's all about the finding that connection with this higher self voice that has led me on this journey of purpose, of expansion. And impact. And impact is when you co-create with the universe, there's no limits to what can be done. And so if you know my story way back as a nurse, a registered nurse in the United States, being very disheartened with the reality that it was not about the patient, it was not about the family, that was not the concern in the hospital. And I don't want to get negative, but it's very important to get clear so that we can make positive change. And so I became a nurse to make a difference. And I wasn't able to do that in the hospital. In fact, it was quite the opposite. It was suffering from what you call moral injury, seeing patients not get what they need and being neglected, and it being about profits over the patients. And so coming out of that, following my heart to hospice, and it was following my heart because I had no bedside experience, no end of life experience, but I heard a little voice that said, go to hospice. And when I heard that, there was an expansion, there was a peace, there was a, yes, that's it, for whatever reason that doesn't make any analytical or in my mind reason, because the human mind is very small. But I said, I'm going to follow that anyway. And the first day that I went out to see hospice patients, I knew I was in the exact place in my life. Here was the answer. This is how life works. Not what do I think I should be doing. It's what do I know? Where am I being guided? And so that led me. So I'm going to speed this up in kind of some timelines. I'm going to speed it up so that was way back 2008. And then in 2012, I officially started Doulagivers, coming out of hospice because there's so many gaps in end of life care because of the reimbursement structure. And again, not to get negative, but it's not going well for most people. So starting a non-medical which is the answer and the future that we're going to be moving into, which I will do another podcast on very shortly, about the future of the evolution of humanity and what will be put into place in such a beautiful way. It's just orchestrated in a gorgeous way. And I know there's a lot of upheaval right now, and that's what happens when there's a energetic cleansing, when things are coming to light, when things are no longer able to be what they are. And again, I'm picking my words very wisely to always come from a place of love and empowerment, but the structures that are in place are dissolving, are crumbling, because they are not of a higher vibration. And we're moving into a higher vibration in humanity as a whole, in the earth, in our humanity, our beings. We're being upgraded. So the things that no longer hold that frequency are breaking down and dissolving. And also the things that have not been of a high vibration are coming to light. So things that have been created for personal gain, for monetary gain, for masking an illusion of helping you, but really not helping you with some of the structures. So everything is shedding to light. So with that, there can feel a very unsettling disruption, right, of sorts. And again, there is, it's cleansing itself. And so at the end of life, I will often say that everyone's stuff bubbles to the top because it wants to be acknowledged and released before people leave. So all of their human energy, stuck energy, unresolved issues, unforgiveness, trauma, it all bubbles to the top and wants to be brought to light so that it can be released and they can go on. This is much of what we're seeing in our world today in general as well. And so can it feel unsettling? Absolutely. I want you to know that do not be unsettled. What you can do, what you need to do for you, is to anchor down into your self-care, into love, into your inner sanctuary of knowing. That still small voice. Connect with it, guide with it, strengthen with it, because it will navigate you, help you to navigate through these times so that you're almost witnessing them. You're not being swept away by the different things. And limit yourself to negative people, negative talk. And again, there's no judgment, but we have to be mindful of our protect your energy, and that's protecting your peace. So if you are around people that are complaining or angry or arguing and fighting, or, watching things on TV that ignite that and just, propel that energy, that fearful energy forward, or that separate energy forward, be mindful of what you're doing. And so what I would say is just step outside. One of the quickest things that you could ever do for alignment and self-care is to step outside and marvel at nature, get present with it, appreciate it, which we really have not done. And we're going to get back to that. But it's one of the easiest ways to recalibrate your beautiful instrument that is you, that has a vibrational tone and level. And it's all about, in moving into the future, what level are you vibrating at? Where are you, and how do you vibrate at a higher alignment to get into the beingfulness and the flow of this journey, not the human pushing separateness and struggle. So being guided in 2012, started Doulagivers in 2018. I was doing, and again, started with, and still is, a level 1 end-of-life doula family caregiver training. And to this date have given that to about close to 400,000 people around the world. It's given for free. It's now in 15 different languages. What an amazing moment that is. What a beautiful thing that is. And in 2018, I gave an online training, which I do, by the way, give them every month. If you want to join us, take it, share it. This is a movement. And there was a woman from Thailand who sent me a beautiful email talking about the training, what she learned, what it meant to her, how grateful she was, and the work that she was doing in Thailand, volunteering in different hospitals and temples and settings. And I was very moved by her. And then I went and we had a Zoom meeting. And I remember in that meeting, I'm going to say offhandedly, but it wasn't, was really in full alignment. So it wasn't so offhanded. It was offhanded, like how it came out, which is, again, how it works for me now, that I am so connected to the being part and to that alignment that I just let it guide my journey, because it knows the way. And so in that meeting, I said, well, if you ever want me to come to Thailand and do some free trainings, I'd be happy to. And she was like, really? I'd heard that. And so the next thing you knew, March of 2019, I was on my way to Thailand for a whole month to do Doulagivers trainings, and ended up doing 14 trainings all around the beautiful country of Thailand. It was one of the best experiences. It was so incredible, so beautiful. And to this day, she has now, we're at 2025, almost 2026, coming in it. And we have Doulagivers Thailand, which I will share with you some of those photos down below. Giving that training in communities, bringing medical practitioners together, giving those trainings for the Doulagivers training so that people can come learn the skill, go back, take care of their families, go into their communities, take that skill with them to support. That's how we change the world. Community taking care of community. That is the future. That is how we are going to change the world. And that is what we're creating and doing. And so watching those trainings go on and touch the lives of so many, it has a ripple effect, is really beautiful. So let me get to Guatemala. And again, nothing is orchestrated from the human part. Nothing is, okay, I think we need to do this. This is where we're going to go. It's always by inspired guidance. Then I take inspired action. So I allow the universe to show me how I should be showing up to be of the highest service. That's how I do things. And that's how you should do things too. That's really how this works. We'll teach you that in 2026 if you'd like to learn. Because there is an element of letting go and of trust that needs to be in that space for that to happen, which is counterintuitive of everything you've been taught your whole entire life. So there's that gap, that bridge that you need to overcome, but this is how it works. And so I remember in 2009 when I was working in oncology and I was noticing so many awful things happening there. The fear of death, the giving medicine like chemotherapy to patients that there was no chance in them reversing their cancer. And so why are we giving them this toxic chemical in their body? Why are we giving them false hope? What's happening here? Why aren't we, where did this ever become the number one fear in the world? And why is it so fearful that people are doing things that are causing them 10,000 times more suffering for them and their families? How have we taught doctors that they are expected to fix end of life, or if their patient dies, they failed? What have we done here? And so I remember looking for guidance and help and finding Dr. Elisabeth Kübler-Ross, who is absolutely amazing, and reaching out, writing an email to her organization and getting an email back from her son, Ken, who is the president of Elisabeth Kübler-Ross Foundation. And just a lovely email. I still have that email, by the way. I still have it. That was a long time ago. Looking for guidance. And you know what I love about Elisabeth Kübler-Ross is it's all about the patient. It's all about humanity. It's all about love. And she put herself on the line multiple times, if not always, for this, about this. She really, really broke down so many barriers and walls that, as death doula pioneer in Doulagivers and working in this field, that we're able to do what we do because of the walls and the doors that she opened. So over the years, becoming friends with Ken and the organization, and I remember World Training Day honoring her, Dr. Elisabeth Kübler-Ross, and just becoming friendly. And then 2 years ago, Ken reached out and said there's a thanatology conference, an international thanatology conference that's happening in Guatemala, and they'd like you to be a speaker. The woman who runs the EKR Guatemala chapter would like you to speak there. Would you like to come? And I was like, oh, wow. Sure. What an honor. What an absolute honor that is. And of course, I would like to come. So, speaking there. And I remember going there and meeting Wendy Pineda, who's amazing. She's a little powerhouse that she is, passionate, making huge impact. And her showing me this respite house that they were building, an EKR respite house, to house people that are coming down. So this was in Guatemala City, the people that were coming down from the mountains and different places to in the countryside to get care at the hospital. And so it was, so at the time when people would come down to get care at the hospitals, if they didn't have any money, they were sleeping in the streets because they didn't have any money and getting robbed. So for me, knowing the intensity of having a family member ill, being ill yourself, sleeping in the streets to get care, and then being, having an assault, getting robbed on top of that, it just cannot be. So her vision of having this respite house that people could stay in safely, be loved, be fed, was so incredibly beautiful. And so as she's showing me the house and telling me about the vision and the intention, all I kept thinking is, this has to be created quickly, that people need care every day. It's not an option of when they need to go to the hospital and when they don't. And so I remember asking, and I don't think they knew what I was doing, but I remember asking, what would it take to complete this, to have electricity throughout, running water, and having it be completed? What would it take monetarily? And they told me the number. And I came back to the United States, and all I kept thinking about is how to get that number. All I kept thinking about is how do we accomplish this? And I remember getting Ken and Wendy on a call and telling them that we at Doulagivers Institute were going to get them that number and help them finish the respite house. And it took about 4 months. It was over a 4-month period of time, but we did it. And so just last month, I was able to go back to Guatemala and see the completion of the respite house, to meet residents there, to speak and deliver a level 1 in Spanish at the thanatology conference. It was an incredible moment in my journey of expansion and of purpose. And having it come full circle is such an incredible thing to witness and be a part of. Going there and seeing it built out, meeting residents and their families was one of the most beautiful moments of my life. And all I hear in my heart is more, do more, do more. What more can we do? So Wendy is so incredibly passionate. And so we have now a director of our Spanish programs, Andrea Urrutia, and she has translated many of our Doulagivers education into Spanish, which we're so proud of. So much of this is free, by the way. So, you can download checklists and level 1 trainings in Spanish, all for free. And Wendy wants to do the Doulagiver certification for end-of-life doula in Guatemala. And we are working on making that happen. That is going to happen. So as we have Thailand doing Doulagivers Thailand now, we're going to have Doulagivers Guatemala and have her offer that. And of course, all of the free training is always, in my opinion, the most important part of this. And so that's what I want to talk to you about at this moment, is the expansion globally of getting care and education worldwide. Why? Because all of us will be called to care for somebody at the end of life, and knowing how to do that changes everything. So this year, Doulagivers was able to put the level 1 end-of-life doula family caregiver training into 15 different languages. Another beautiful moment of expansion in this journey. And what I want to share with you right now, that if you are someone, if you are an organization, if you are a doula in another country, if you are somebody who speaks another language and wants to support your community, contact us, because we are here to help. And we want to get that training, which is a human right. You know, it's a human right to have a positive end of life. We don't have the skills anymore. 100 years ago, it was a skill, taking care of the dying, that was handed down from grandmother to a grandchild. Today, it's all but lost. We are so backwards here. It's time to bring back the sacredness of that. And by the way, doing that brings back the sacredness of life. So for those out that are listening, take the training, share the training, but know it's in 15 different languages. And if you are someone who has a fire in your belly, that alignment that is of purpose to want to have an impact in your community, maybe you are a hospice or a caregiver or a nurse or somebody in a place in the world, contact us. We want to help you with this level 1 free training for your community in your part of the world, so that we can come together at this moment. Community, taking care of community. That's what Doulagivers Institute is doing. That's what we're going to be doing moving forward on so many different levels, with Life Cafe, with free education, with conscious living. It's so exciting what's going to happen. So I know that there's a lot of smoke, chaos right now that we see. Ground yourself and understand that that's just working its way out, so that the rebirth, the new, can come about. And Doulagivers Institute will be at the forefront of helping to create the new world with new community education, different ways that we can come together. People, planet, and the animals, all of it together. And you are a major part of that. You are here, so you are a major part of this shift. And again, it comes down to choosing love over fear, and that's what we do. So it is incredibly exciting to share the journey of the expansion, the evolution of Doulagivers, and how it continues to grow and grow from that place of higher guidance. And so wanting to share the wonderful, beautiful people of Guatemala and the beautiful country. You know, I really feel it's interesting. The things that it's, you know, it's not, of course, this is the way it's happening. The countries, again, the first ones, Thailand and Guatemala, I feel like I have a cellular connection with them. You know, the countries are so beautiful and the people are so beautiful. And Guatemala is just such a special part of me at this point. And so continuing to build out that, and then of course, our entire global family. So wherever you are in the world, we are this beautiful connected family, and we want to hear from you and we want to support you. So thank you so much again for being part of the world at this time. I know it's challenging, but it's one of the most beautiful growth periods that humanity has, and you're playing a major role in that. So join us in Life Cafe. We'll be doing much more talk about this, about just showing up in presence and love. And again, I'll put the link below for Life Cafe and also for the Universal Life Mastery Masterclass that you can take. Lots of things that, again, are helping with the new evolution of this new earth that's being created at this moment. You are so very loved, more than you know. Take that in. Thank you for being part of this episode of Ask a Death Doula. My name's Suzanne O'Brien, and I'll see you in the next episode.